All right, let's dive into a pretty wild what-if scenario. What happens when a being like Superman doesn't crash land in some field in Kansas, but right in the middle of the Star Wars galaxy? Now, this isn't just some fan theory. We're going to do a full strategic analysis of how one single being could completely shatter an entire galaxy's understanding of power. Let's break it down. Forever, the galaxy's entire strategic landscape was defined by one thing, and one thing only: the Force. It was the ultimate power, period. But as this quote says, everyone was looking inward at this mystical energy field. It never occurred to anyone to, look up, to think that a new kind of power, a completely different kind of monster, could come from the stars themselves. So it all starts with a very quiet arrival. A strange vessel appears, described as a fire-wreathed tear in Coruscant sky, moving in a way that just defied all known physics. It lands silently, not in some grand plaza, but deep in the grimy industrial underbelly of the galactic capital. And inside was the being who was about to change everything. And here it is. This is the absolute game changer. The entire galaxy runs on the Force, right? It's this mystical, spiritual energy that you have to connect with. But this new arrival, who they'd come to call Cal, his power wasn't based on faith or training at all. It was just biology, pure physiology. His body was basically a solar battery in a galaxy that had only ever known magic. So how does this biological power actually work? And what did it look like the first time the galaxy got a real glimpse of it? Let's get into the mechanics of this brand new force of nature. So the origin of his power has this fancy scientific name, the photonucleic effect. But put simply, his Kryptonian cells were built to live under a red sun. When they got hit by the radiation from Coruscant's yellow suns, they went into total overdrive. This wasn't a skill he had to learn or a power he chose to activate. It was just an automatic biological reaction. It just happened. And the foundation for all this power? Get this. His homeworld had a gravity that was about 33 times stronger than a standard planet's. So just to survive there, his body needed a cellular structure with extraordinary density. So even before the suns got involved, his basic biology was already operating on a level of physics the galaxy had literally never seen before. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly, the fundamental clash here. Kryptonian power is innate and absolute. It's a state of being. The Force, on the other hand, is something you cultivate. It's contingent on your connection to it. It's a path of becoming. One is just a physical constant, like gravity. The other is a cosmic energy field that demands a moral and spiritual connection. They couldn't be more different. His first real public appearance showed everyone a completely new way of solving problems. There's this massive plasma cascade about to blow, right? He doesn't use tactics or strategy. He just applies physics. He literally absorbs the raw energy and then physically molds super-dense durasteel with his bare hands to seal the breach. He treated a system-wide catastrophe like it was a simple engineering problem you could solve with overwhelming physical force. Now, once a power like that is out of the bag, you know what's coming next, right? A collision course with all the established tools of galactic warfare. And the results? Well, they were shocking, to say the least. This was the question every military strategist, every Jedi master, and every Sith Lord was suddenly asking themselves, and the answers they were about to get would make centuries of combat doctrine totally obsolete. First up, the most basic tool of every soldier in the galaxy, the blaster. They shoot at him point blank, and nothing. The superheated plasma, the main weapon for trillions of soldiers and droids, just splattered against his chest like raindrops. Total, absolute immunity. But this is what sent a shockwave through the entire Jedi Order. The lightsaber, the legendary weapon of the Jedi, a blade of pure energy that can slice through blast doors. And it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. A direct hit just screeched and fizzled out against his skin. In that one single moment, the Jedi's most iconic and powerful weapon was rendered completely useless. This slide really just lays out the whole cascading failure. I mean, look at this list. Elite Magna Guards, droids specifically designed to fight Jedi. Their armor crumpled like tinfoil. Count Dooku, one of the greatest swordsmen in galactic history. Cal was so fast, Dooku's lightsaber was melted before he could even land a strike. From a single soldier's blaster, all the way up to an entire naval fleet's bombardment, every single known tactic just failed. And so, Cal stopped being just a tactical problem you could fight. he became something far more dangerous, a strategic wild card. A single piece on the board that no faction could predict, nobody could control, and absolutely no one could afford to ignore. And the escalation was incredibly fast. I mean, look at this timeline. He goes from being a localized oddity, the conduit rupture, to personally defending the Jedi Temple. And then, by the time we get to the Battle of Christophsis, he's taking on an entire separatist fleet by himself. He wasn't just a powerful being anymore, he was a one-man army. So what happens when your entire grand strategy gets thrown out the window? You're forced to adapt. The Jedi realized they couldn't contain him, so they shifted to this shaky, tentative alliance. The Separatists, after getting crushed, just gave up on direct battles and switched to sabotage and weird Sith alchemy. And Palpatine, the master puppeteer, he saw his meticulous plans being threatened by this dangerous impediment, forcing him to hit the accelerator on his own secret projects. This whole galactic chess game was building to one final move, a purpose-built trap, designed specifically to neutralize this new power once and for all. And the location for this ultimate showdown? The fiery, volcanic world of Mustafar. And you gotta hand it to Dooku. His plan on Mustafar was pretty clever. It wasn't just about brute force, it was a layered trap. First, the bait, this horrific superweapon called the Dark Harvester. Second, the cage, a unique energy shield specifically engineered to block all of Cal's powers. And third, the weapon, a monstrous, regenerating beast supercharged by dark side alchemy. But Cal's response was just on another level. Faced with a shield he couldn't break, he didn't just punch harder. No, he changed the entire equation. He flew to the very edge of space and became a living meteor, using orbital velocity and his own incredible mass to create an impact the shield simply couldn't withstand. After that, he just took apart the rest of the trap, piece by piece. It was the ultimate victory of physics over mysticism. And after Mustafar, the consequences were irreversible. The whole game had changed. First, he totally redefined invincibility, proving one person could be more decisive than an entire army or a superweapon. Second, he challenged thousands of years of Jedi and Sith philosophy, just by existing outside their light and dark view of the Force. And finally, he became this new, incorruptible symbol of hope that was bigger than politics or any one faction. In the end, his arrival forced the entire galaxy to face a truth it never even imagined was possible. He didn't just alter the course of war, he completely shattered the very definition of power itself. And it leaves us with one last, fascinating question to chew on. In a galaxy completely built on the power of the Force, what happens when the ultimate power comes from a different sun entirely?